Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. Today is Wednesday, and we all know what that means. AEW Dynamite is tonight. It's quite an interesting card. I mean, from an in-ring standpoint, not too stacked, but from a storyline standpoint, it's looking quite interesting, and we're going to get into it today. We're going to break it down. We're going to break down whether or not we think Chris Jericho is going to join Don Callis, and a lot more. We're also going to be talking about in the opening today, we're going to be discussing, does wrestling need more characters? But before we get into that, let me introduce the panel. Firstly, the co-host of the show, Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
I'm doing well. I'm stoked to be back again. I had like a half day off yesterday and then did the NXT show last night. Go check that out. It was awesome. Shout out to Shot and Drizzy. And then more importantly, always stoked to be here on a Wednesday for RC Wednesdays. So let's get right into it.
He's done it again. He's nicked, he's stolen what I'm about to say, and that is introducing the second guest on the panel, because of course it is RC Wednesday. So we've got Robert Chaos. How are you today, Chaos?
What's good? What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. It has been already a busy day. The England team has progressed to the World Cup final. Not the men's, believe it or not. It is actually the England women's team that's progressed to the final. And of course, we got Dynamite as well. I would wear an AEW CM Punk shirt, but it has not arrived yet. So I'm hoping it arrives in time for All In. So I've got my Nice to Faces t-shirt on right now. But yeah, I'm here, stoked, drinking a cold Copperberg, alcohol-free,
lovely,
responsible. Way better than Prime, by the way. I can't wait. Let's get to it.
Absolutely, it's going to be a fun show. That is for sure. And yeah, let's get straight into things. Let's talk. Does professional wrestling need more characters? That's interesting gimmicks in this era. A lot of times these days, we have a lot of great wrestling. I think we can almost all agree that wrestling now, from an in-ring standpoint, is probably as good, if not better, than it ever has been before. I know a few people are going to be a bit angry about me saying that, but I truly do think so. But I think where wrestling is perhaps weaker nowadays is the gimmicks and the characters. And this is something which, we always take what he says with a big pinch of salt. But Vince Russo spoke about it on Dark Side of the Ring, and he's spoken about it in interviews recently as well. He spoke about it on Busted Open Radio, and that is that he thinks wrestling nowadays does not have enough, great characters that draw you in. And during the Attitude Era, that was why it was so successful. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I do not think it's quite as simple as that. I really do not. But let's talk about Austin Theory, right? Austin Theory, what he's currently doing just isn't working. It's unanimously agreed. And I don't know exactly what it is that is missing, but certainly an element of it is a lack of character. He's literally just a cocky heel, and he's not a cocky heel like MJF, because MJF, he's sort of controversial at times with what he says and how he acts, and it is kind of, different. Whereas Austin Theory really does feel, dare I say, generic at times with his gimmick. Now, we look back to when he got called up to the main roster, and we look at his, his selfie gimmick. Was it cringe? Yes. At the time, were we like, what is this? Yes. However, looking back, was it more interesting than what, he's turned into now? Yes, it was more interesting. It really, really was. So there's one example where, a gimmick's kind of better than not having one or not having a real one. Another person, right, who I thought has been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal in the ring for so many years, is Ricochet. When he came to WWE, I thought, the sky's going to be the limit for him. He could be, world champion at the very, very least, have a mid-card a couple of times, a mid-card title a couple of times a year. However, it's kind of not really worked out that way. And this was actually one of the first examples for me where I was like, hang on a second, to a mainstream audience, to an audience which is larger, character, matters. You can't just be good in the ring. You can't just be, amazing between the ropes. You've also got to have an interesting character about you. And Ricochet, perhaps he lacks that. Perhaps that is a possible reason. Another example is Tegan Nox. Since she's come back, right? She's had no hype behind her whatsoever. She's not even on TV anymore. And they've tried repackaging her on Main Event a couple of times, but let's be real, nobody, watches that. So that's another perfect example of somebody who, really needed character. So fans are interested in her because she's fantastic in the ring as well. I don't think people realize how great she is and on the mic, but she needs a character and, she doesn't have one. Now, let's move on to AEW, right? And you can say the exact same thing about a lot of people in AEW, but I'm going to use one of the odd exceptions to that rule, right? I'm going to talk about Orange Cassidy because let's be real, from an in-ring standpoint, Orange Cassidy is, well, quite generic. He absolutely is. However, he turned himself into, a gimmick, this Orange Cassidy gimmick. Some people hate it, some people love it, but I mean, the reality is it sells, it does good numbers on segments, and it's entertaining. It is. So, yes, at times, gimmicks can be a bit cringy, but Clark, do you think wrestling needs more characters in this age?
Oh, I mean, I echo a lot of the sentiments that you had there myself. I definitely think that the quality of the in-ring product is as good as it's ever been. As far as does it need more gimmicks and characters, I think it needs more good ones. It's not necessarily does it need more gimmicks and characters. I would point to, you gave a ton of examples there. I think the most prime example is look at the Hurricane. Hurricane Helms as Gregory and Shane Helms. If you look at his resume under those two gimmicks, which were pretty dang generic, cruiserweight wrestler, right? He had more success winning titles and matches and feuds than he did as the Hurricane. We all remember the Hurricane. The Hurricane's in the DLC and the video game.
That's
and
true.
It's what he's most known for. So there's the happy medium too, right? Where both can work. I would point even to AEW. Look at Pac as Adrian. He was as Neville. He was amazing in WWE. As the Bastard, he really found his groove. That's who he is, almost, right? And
yeah,
Theory. I think what's missing with Theory specifically to answer that question is I don't feel like I know him at all.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I feel like generic is the term that has been thrown around a lot. That's the problem. It's not necessarily that he needs a full gimmick. I don't know him. What's his motivation? Why is he here? Why is he scorned so badly that he walks around, so cocky and is a heel, right? Explain.
Yeah.
Explain how we got here.
No, I love that point as well. I mean,
yeah,
perhaps,
like a full gimmick doesn't seem necessary, right? But just let's get to know him.
No, I mean, perhaps, it's one of those things where maybe it's not the wrestling needs more gimmicks. Maybe it's just the fact of they need to explain the current gimmicks better and make us care about the characters more. Would you say that's right, Clark?
I would say that that's 100% spot on. Like, even you can point to John Moxley as an example. Dean Ambrose carrying around the wagon, like Dean Ambrose was still clearly a star, but John Moxley's who he is. That's right. It just cranked up. You know what I mean? And there's guys like Jericho who have worked various different gimmicks, and that shows his range. But there's only certain talents that are capable of that, right? And I think that's what makes Jericho great and separates him from a lot of people is he's found the ability to strike gold multiple different ways. That's hard to quantify, right? Like he's basically started from scratch multiple times on only his name. And that's brutal, right? Like to be able to come up with new stuff all the time. I mean, Sting, yes, the Crow gimmick changed in the middle of his career, but he's generally, the face paint. Sting has been Sting for quite some time. Jericho has just consistently evolved. Not everyone can do that. Randy Orton has like slightly tweaked his character over years, but it's always been generally the same. I think the most interesting one to me is John Cena got over with one of the most gimmicky gimmicks you've ever seen in your life. Rapping at first and then turned into an entirely different character. He went from rapper to army guy to just like Mr. Charity and like became one of the greatest of all time, but without ever like there was never like a pivotal point of changing gimmicks the way that Jericho or other guys have, you know what I mean? Where like a definitive change.
Yeah, he never once got repackaged. It just all
No.
happened really slowly. And I mean, one of the points which you said, about Jericho, changing his gimmick so many times. Somebody who's done that several times already in their career so far at a young age is Cameron Grimes. And I've spoken about him a lot, lately. Like, why aren't they utilizing him? Like, very few people have that ability, and he does. And you could literally just chuck him in the mid card, and I'm sure he'd be happy. It's better than what he's doing now. It's like, how are you fumbling somebody who gets these characters and these fun gimmicks over?
Is this talented?
Easy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. I really don't get it. Chaos, give me your thoughts on this one.
It's a bit dicey. I mean, like right now, I remember back in obviously with the Attitude Era, there's a lot of obviously characters and gimmicks were very active at that point, but the reason that they were very lively or they were very rampant is because they hid the wrestlers' shortcomings in terms of like their move sets. Like Steve Austin, you can literally name almost all his moves on one hand, but his gimmick was the thing that lived on to this day, kind of thing. Whereas now people are obviously more athletic, but they are just they're as bland as a box of white crayons. It is just like they have got no charisma, no anything. So I don't know. We just live in a day and age where it's not possible to have both. And what would you rather sacrifice? The match quality for some gimmicks? It's not really. I don't think that's the wise move. I mean, they try to do that with NXT where everything was a gimmick. 2.0, should I say?
Yeah.
And they were full on with gimmicks when they first started. Still kind of going on to this day, but I don't think it's full on. I mean, you still got your Tony D'Angelo and Wendy Chu and Chase U and the Schism and all that kind of stuff. But it's kind of watered down a bit. I don't know. I would rather sacrifice the characters or gimmicks for match quality, because even back in the Attitude Era, like they were just even though you got to see Steve Austin, you got to see The Rock and Undertaker, those matches on weekly television generally finished within 4 or 5 minutes. They were, it was more about you remember
Crash
the
TV.
aftermath more than the match quality. So yeah, I don't think we necessarily need characters and gimmicks, only if it's needed, and it has to be grounded. Everyone knows that this is all a different. It's all pre-planned and everything like that. Back in the Attitude Era, you can kind of get away with it, but yeah, it has to be a grounded type of character, and if they can actually carry that, then that's fine. But unfortunately, we just mainly live in an era where we care about their athleticism, but the character work is kind of taking the back burner. So it's kind of hard to have the both. Like you mentioned a great point. Jericho is I think is one of the only guys really that can really change on the fly naturally, organically, and then come up with something that goes over. Also The Rock, maybe I think he probably had 3 changes.
Yeah, that's a great point as well. The Rock, yeah.
And you just can't win them all, really. But I don't think having characters and gimmicks is the answer.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I mean, this is the point where Vince Russo goes in this discussion, goes, well, this is why you're wrong. There were so many, more viewers in the Attitude Era. People prefer 4 to 5 minute matches, bro. But I mean, I'm going to be honest about this. And we've spoken about this off air, a bit actually yesterday. There was a lot of factors about why wrestling's viewership declined that weren't, just character based. It is a lot more complicated than that.
I also think there's a happy medium, right?
There's a happy medium. My next point, Clark. Because I was just about to say.
I didn't mean to jump the gun.
The reason that I chose this topic for this intro today is that I actually think this current version of NXT has found the happy medium. I think there's great in-ring stuff, but also nearly all of the characters have me hooked. Like even Von Wagner, I'm now interested by.
There's some corniness, though, I will say.
Oh, there is. But again,
there's some corniness.
Do you mind some corniness in your wrestling?
Because I like some of the corniness.
Yeah, there's a little sprinkle, not full on. Like I said, when
Chase U gets me every time.
It was all over the place. I hated it.
2.0 was a mess. You're completely right. But now it's like a mix of black and gold and 2.0, and I'm like, hang on a second, you're onto something here. I mean, I said it a few weeks ago. The main roster really need to be taking notes from NXT once again now. And I didn't think I'd be saying that. Maybe not from an in-ring standpoint, because the main roster right now from an in-ring standpoint is very fun. But in terms of weekly TV, I don't know if there's a better 2-hour TV show right now than NXT. And I wasn't a 2.0 guy, and I'm quite surprised that I'm back there saying it once again now. But I am jealous, Clark, that you guys get to review it every week on wrestling off the air every Tuesday night.
Whew. Such a fun show.
Yeah, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. I do my Wednesday morning cardio
each
week
too.
now. Yes, take a table. Of course.
Let's plug it all.
I do my Wednesday morning cardio each week now, listening to wrestling off the air while doing it. So that's always fun. But I believe we've got a comment you're saying. Matt Williams, NXT on Tuesday.
Shout out, Matt. Thank you for all the comments last night. We had a blast. That was a fun show, man. We were all giggling. It was fun.
Oh, it absolutely was. And Matt Williams is joining the Judgment Day, by the way, Clark, as well. I'm not sure if
I heard that.
If you know that. Yeah,
Rumor has it
the 5th member.
Well, maybe he's replacing Finn Balor. You don't know yet. We're gonna have to wait and see.
Speaking of character work.
Yeah, that's true. But now, talking about characters, Kenny Omega is going to be doing a sit-down interview with Jim Ross tonight on AEW Dynamite. Now, we don't really know the plans for, All In with Kenny Omega. I obviously want to see him on the card. Me and Chaos are both going to be at the show. I've never seen Kenny Omega wrestle live, so that's something which I personally, selfishly would love to see. Now, whether or not he'll be in All In, I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. But I think we'll get our answers tonight. Of course, we already know that at All In, the Young Bucks already have a match. They're facing FTR, so presumably, Kenny won't be facing them. There's potential. Which we'll get onto later on about if, Chris Jericho joins Takeshita. Maybe you could do Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, or Kenny Omega and, well, if he comes back again, Kota Ibushi, the Golden Lovers, versus, Don Callis' family. That's another option you could do. I think, I'd certainly be down for that. And we got Chaos in the comments, even though he's on the show saying Kenny Omega versus CM Punk.
No.
Somehow, please. Oh,
you're an idiot if you think that. God damn.
That was his secretary.
Yeah, that's Chaos' secretary commenting that.
Social media guru.
Yeah, this is where all the budget goes to. It goes to my secretary, it goes to my green screen here, it goes to the microphone, it goes to my intro. This is where all the budget goes for Wrestling Republic. So thank you, Ben. That's what I wanted to say.
Yes. But let's be clear, that was not Chaos in the comments. It was his
definitely not me.
Right? His secretary wants to see Omega versus CM Punk. Outrageous. Although I would
ironically, his secretary is also named Chaos, though, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, no, kind of weird.
Yeah, and he's using his Google account too. But anyway, Clark, what do you think? What do you think Kenny Omega's going to say in the interview with Jim Ross tonight?
Of course, I want to see Omega talk about wrestling CM Punk at All In. I would love to see that. Do I think that's what's going to happen? Probably not. I think Kenny's pretty underrated at interview type segments and promo segments. He's better on the mic than people give him credit for. It kind of always has been. He's clever. He's well thought out, and he's well timed. He's really clear when he says stuff. And I think charismatically he doesn't get enough credit. We all talk about all the great matches and whatnot, but he's good in this spot as well. Prediction wise, I'm not sure. It could really be almost anything, but I do think it is the direct route to the All In card, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'll end with, I just hope it's Punk. That'd be amazing. Be awesome.
It absolutely would be. The only issue is it can't be Punk, can it? He's got a match confirmed for All In.
They could change it.
Just somehow, maybe change it into. I'll be fine with a triple threat. That's what I'm saying.
Samoa Joe, Kenny Omega, CM Punk. Throw Ricky Starks in there too.
Screw it and do it for the AEW, the real championship. Just throw it in there because at the end of the day, when you think about it, this is still a glorified house show. All these certain things are carrying over to All Out. So just if it doesn't really matter, just throw it in there. Just whatever, man. Because that's what it is. This is a glorified
just
stadium house show.
We've just called the biggest event in the
wouldn't say
history
glorified.
of professional
That's a bit of a
wrestling.
reach.
It
A
is.
glorified house show.
It is. It's a huge. It's like Crown Jewel times 2. It basically is that. But I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. But I mean, like,
Fair enough.
just throw it in there, man. That's what I'm saying.
You are
Yeah,
right.
let
There's
us
not
have
been
it.
much of a story. You're all right. There's not been, but oh gosh, I mean,
Just give it to us.
it's getting scarily close now. By the way, to
It is getting scarily
it's
close.
It's almost got headed now. It's like a few thousand tickets away from being the highest paid attendance in wrestling history.
And it's gonna rain. No, I'm joking. I pray to God not. I hope not.
Don't tell me you just jinxed it, Chaos. I haven't seen the long.
Poncho's on, guys. You guys are troopers.
Screw that. For
I mean,
4 hours.
Ponchos.
I spoke about it months ago when they announced this show, but there's still the slight possibility because of how strict the rules are that if it's raining and the wind is blowing, that
Just get like some really plastic rain gear, and you guys will be fine. A yellow
you'll
rain.
be fine.
You
We're
need a
used to
yellow
it, we're
rain cap.
British.
A yellow rain cap. I want you guys
But
in yellow
if the
rain
mat
bucket
starts
caps.
getting a bit
That way I
slippy,
can see you guys.
I think it might turn in a bit more into a dancing on ice. But
Old
It's gonna
school
be Mandy
rubber
Rose.
boots.
Everyone's gonna turn into Mandy Rose at Mania. That's what it's gonna be.
Let's hope they don't go with a metal ramp. That would be
Yeah.
smart.
yeah,
Setup,
that's
guys.
true, that's
Shout
true.
out AEW. Let's go with a concrete aisleway.
Ooh,
Nice traction.
painful.
I'm hoping, right? It's completely lovely sunny day, right? Absolutely lovely weather, and a thunderstorm hits just for Samoa Joe's entrance. So Samoa Joe's got to come out and punch out again.
He only
Oh,
appears
yeah.
in open air stadiums in the rain. That's actually great. Speaking of gimmicks and
That's
characters,
great.
that's the next one.
There we are.
He's the new
We've
Rainmaker.
sorted it. We have sorted it. But talking, like you said, about gimmicks and characters, let's talk about somebody I gave praise to earlier in the show, Orange Cassidy, because he'll be defending his AEW International Championship against Wheeler Yuta tonight. And we've been talking about this for months and months and months now. Orange Cassidy, every title defense seems to be getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And sooner or later, he's just going to crack and he's going to lose. He is. I don't think it's going to be tonight. I don't see Wheeler Yuta being the one, to beat him. But Miro, Orange Cassidy, they need to book it soon. What are your thoughts, Chaos?
I'm so over this feud that is happening between the best friends and BCC. I don't see how Yuta even warrants or gets this championship match. I kind of feel like this wear and tear situation with Orange Cassidy is kind of taking a back seat. I remember it was really at the forefront, and I thought they were going to keep that up until hopefully Miro comes out and it's not going to happen. But but yeah, so someone's going to come and destroy him at All In. It's looking less and less likely that's going to happen. They probably will save that to All Out. I don't know. But yeah, this, and I've lost interest in Yuta now. I feel like I feel like he's one of the weak links in BCC. I mean, the ones that's really carrying them is Moxley and I was going to say Cesaro.
Claudio Castagnoli.
Claudio, that's it. Claudio. Yeah, I got there in the end. Yeah. So I'm sure it'll be a fine match. It'll be a decent opener for Dynamite. But yeah, I don't see how Yuta even warrants this, and he's probably going to go to a no contest. I don't know, but then again, these matches, when it comes to the championship, it doesn't usually go into. Fair enough, thank you. I just realized I'm gonna look at
Chaos has been looking into the wrong camera for it. Video
My
watches.
goodness, this is a force of habit. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Yeah. So obviously, I'm still getting used to the new angles. Yeah. Throw me off. Yeah, Cassidy's gonna definitely win. Yeah, I just really want this thing to wrap up because this best friends and BCC thing is not great. So that's all I want to say. I'm gonna shut up now because I feel embarrassed.
I'm so sorry, Chaos. I
cool.
was hoping
Thank you
you'd
for
use
that.
that after the take, but
I was hoping he would break his other hand and not be able to fit him in his pockets. That would be a hilarious if you're gonna fit the Orange Cassidy gimmick, right? Because he already broke the one. He's got the one right hand broken. If the left hand gets broken and he can't put him in his pockets, it's like kind of like he's lost his mojo.
Healed by now as well. Like Chaos is right. They have kind of dragged this out a bit long now. I feel like, and I don't know, because a few weeks ago David really sold me on this. because I remember he did a huge speech on this show, and he really sold me on. I was like, you know what, I'm actually into this storyline now. I wish AEW did that good of a job explaining it. But I mean, the last few weeks it has taken a backseat, like you've said. But hopefully, there's a plan here. Maybe they are waiting for Miro to finish, his feud with, Powerhouse Hobbs or whatever, and then do it. I don't know. Maybe he is just a Collision guy, and there'll be somebody else on Dynamite. Maybe a debut. Maybe Goldberg's gonna come out at All In and just
sweet mother of God.
Squash Orange Cassidy. That would certainly be. Oh, that would be something. But talking about something, tonight on Dynamite, there's going to be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match as Jeff Jarrett will be taking on Jeff Hardy. I mean, I'm actually sure this match is going to be a lot of fun. I do think it's going to surprise me. So I'm not gonna bury it or whatever. I think it will be fun. Man. I think it's one of those matches where you head into it thinking, what is this? And you come out thinking, oh, man, that was, a fun 10 minutes. But I've never seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And now apparently there's a video game for it.
Yes.
I mean, I've learned about it through this match, so I guess the sponsorships worked or whatever. But let's just hope it's better than the Pitch Black match. But Clark, what are your thoughts heading to this one?
Well, I mean, first of all, they've had chainsaws in Grand Theft Auto for like 15 years now, so it would be the point in buying a game that just is entirely wrapped around chainsaws. I don't get it. At least I never really liked the movies either. Freaked me out. Like, got a chainsaw murderer? Come on, not my gimmick. Anyway, also, I thought they should have called this the Battle of the Jeffs. I don't know. It seems like a stone unturned. Jeff versus Jeff. Yeah, we've got two old Jeffs in a death match. That's a tongue twister if I've ever heard one. And I love your positivity about stealing the show, and I'll fully admit I'm wrong if they do. But man, I hope this one's over quickly. Yep. I have less than no interest in either the match or the video game. Unfortunately, it's just not up my alley.
Yeah. No.
Although if we get a chainsaw spot, I'll be stoked. If somebody does whip out a chainsaw,
they're gonna do it. They are gonna do it.
Someone's gonna have a chainsaw.
Matt Williams is in the comments saying Lucha has to drop their first name.
It's for,
that's
he has to go back to brother Nero.
We've also got Chaos's personal assistant in the comments again saying Final Resolution 2011 main event once again. Well,
and it sucked balls in that match. I think it was a steel cage match, and that's when it was the Jarretts together. Yeah, wasn't great, and neither I don't think this will be. So yeah,
I forgot about that. That was bad. That really
Battle of the Jeffs.
I mean, the reason I think it'll be okay is because I just think it's gonna be a fun match. I think it's gonna be one of those, like we saw the Viking Rules match on Raw a few weeks ago, where it's like I went into it thinking, this is gonna be whatever, and it was actually really fun. I think it'll be one of those. Maybe show stealing's a bit of an exaggeration, but I think it'll still be fun. And yeah, there's probably gonna be a chainsaw spot.
I don't know.
I don't know what comment,
but I don't know if we can read that comment from Matt Williams, but that's one of the funniest comments I've ever seen in the comment section.
Yeah. Okay. But.
Sorry. I'm sorry. No, I don't think we can show it, Matt. But that was. I'll give you credit. That was funny.
That is one of the.
I just clicked on it and looked at it. I'm so sorry, man. I didn't mean to.
Moving on.
Moving swiftly on. Let's talk about the AEW women's division, because there's a lot going on there now. A couple weeks ago, there's a lot of criticism over it, rightly so. But a bit more time has been put into it now, and they're starting to develop storylines. I'd still like to personally see more than one women's segment on a show, but listen, it's not the same thing over and over again each week now. They are slightly changing it up. Collision, there's a good storyline going on there, so things are improving. But the Bunny will be taking on Britt Baker in a qualifier for the AEW Women's Championship match at All In. We already know it's going to be a fatal four-way. I'm excited for it. We already know that Sheeta, of course, will be defending her championship in it. Soraya's in it, and so is Toni Storm. I think this one's pretty obvious. I think Britt Baker's going to be the fourth name, and I think that this fatal four-way is going to be a lot of fun at All In. I am personally excited for it. But what about you, Chaos?
I would be interested. I would be I would be interested in this more if the obvious winner wasn't there. Like, I love the bunny. You know, I still to this day watch the fatal, was it a fatal 4-way match when it was her, Tay Mello, Britt Baker, and I think what was the other girl? Not Tony Storm.
Was it Penelope?
Penelope, yeah, awesome
Ford.
awesome death match. Yeah, it was a great match.
Yes.
Yeah, the bunny, she hasn't really done much unless I'm missing something. I don't watch Rampage, so I'm sorry. But yeah, the writing's on the wall. Like, you're right. Well, even though Britt Baker's gonna definitely win, the fatal 4-way match is gonna be great. Either way. But yeah, it's just that because the obvious winner in there is it just takes the wind out for me, and because of that, I don't think I'm going to enjoy it as much unless they do something incredible for me to really, invest into it more. But yeah, they need some direction, especially for Britt Baker, because she is a spiraling, like, just spinning the wheels, and nothing's happening with her. And she was one of the top heels in the AEW, not just in the women's division, in the AEW at one point. So yeah, something needs to give. That's why I'm more, out of all of them, I'm more looking forward to see what they're going to do with Britt, and then after this, and then see where they go after all them. But yeah, my prediction, definitely Britt Baker to win. And sorry, Bunny, but yeah, you're going to be back in catering for a few weeks.
No, I mean, storyline wise, it makes a lot of sense. Britt winning as well, right? So it's 100% the right call. My only reason I'd say maybe throw a shocker in there, although the bunny was involved allegedly in it all too, is that because, of course, Lufisto talked about how, it's the same group of women who are getting the opportunities and all of that. Now, whether or not that statement's correct or not, a lot of it, people have completely denied now. A lot of people come out and spoken about it and said it's untrue. But whether or not it's true or not, I mean, it would still be a good time to, start pushing other women as well as the ones who are currently being pushed. But at the same time, from a storyline perspective, you might as well finish it, including this. But hopefully after All In, heading towards All Out and beyond there, hopefully Hikaru Shida or whoever's champion faces, some newer names, some names who aren't on as much, perhaps. You can build them up. A Sky Blue. There's so many.
In the wings.
In Ring of Honor. Who knows? Maybe she can try and be a double champion. We don't know when Thunder Rosa's back. There's so many names. There really is. It's a stacked division. Jade Cargill. That'd be fantastic. I'm hooked. Whoever wins this, Jade Cargill, All Out. Jade Cargill squashes them in 2 minutes.
Yep. Decimates them.
People would hate it, but I would love it.
I would love it too.
It's Jade Cargill. Why could you hate it? Of course.
Yeah,
I don't know, but she just seems to be getting like unnecessary amounts of hate. I really like Jade. We spoke about this on the show on Mailbag Monday as well, right? Me and Clark were both saying she's actually she feels underrated, to be completely honest. People were saying, is she overrated?
She carried the women's division on her back for like a year.
But not only that, that's not what actually impresses me the most. What impresses me the most is she debuted with no experience. And let's be real, she was very, very green. She got a lot of hate off the bat. Yeah. Every single week she improved.
That's what I'm saying. It was fascinating. It was fascinating to see, you see someone evolve in front of you. That was good. Not like Lacey Evans, sorry.
Yeah.
But it was good.
She has the dictionary definition of the it factor too.
Yeah.
The same way MJF does on the men's side. Jade has that in spades. As soon as she comes on screen and starts talking, just commands the presence. Whether she had a mouthpiece or not, she was always the star. That was the brilliance too, right? We talk about, does someone need a mouthpiece or not? She was over with or without. Didn't matter. And there was never even was brought up during the times where she was with Bivens and other people. It was never oh, is that the case because she isn't capable of talking? No, Jade was always capable of commanding the camera, the microphone, the crowd, all of that. It was then adding the wrestling ability, having the natural athleticism and coordination to do so, on top of being aware enough to work that into the context of a match over time is outstanding. And she deserves absolutely a ton of credit for what she was able to accomplish.
I could not agree more. I really couldn't. She improved so quickly, and she, like you said, she has the it factor. And that's something which you can't really teach. She just has it. Pun not intended, but it's, it's one of those ones where I'm really excited to see her return. I really hope she is returning. because she deserves a run at the top of that women's division, because I do think she got elevated. I really, really do. But now let's move on and let's talk about the Jericho Appreciation Society. Let's talk about Don Callis' family, and let's talk about Chris Jericho's decision. The family or his own appreciation society? Who is he choosing tonight? Now, I thought that it was just a foregone conclusion before last week that Jericho is going to join Don Callis. I thought it made some sense. I know a lot of people didn't really want to see it, but I was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Just Don Callis and Jericho together. I think it would be fun. I'm not going to hate on it, right? But after the segment last week where one by one everybody left Jericho, a segment which I thought went on a little too long, probably shouldn't have opened the show and kind of killed the crowd. But I actually thought, apart from that one, if you condense it slightly, put it in the middle, I thought it was a great segment. But everybody left him. And following that segment, I'm kind of thinking to myself, hang on a second, I think they're going for the swerve here. I do believe that Chris Jericho is going to turn down the offer. And I think he might create a new faction, not a new faction, but rename the faction, take it from the Jericho Appreciation Society to something else, and help put over, the Sammy Guevara's, Daniel Garcia's, and all of those, the 2.0s, all of those. But again, I don't really think Sammy Guevara needs it at this point. Daniel Garcia, I think, can just about dance his way into being, all good on his own. Again, he's somebody who, needed that gimmick, and that gimmick's doing him good, because in the ring, he's fantastic. There's no denying that. But character-wise, that's where he needs a little something. But Chaos, what about you? What decision do you think Chris Jericho is going to make tonight? Oh, the Daniel Garcia.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. As soon as you say Daniel Garcia, I'm just instantly doing that. I'm like a voice activated toy when you say Daniel Garcia. I think he's gonna say no, because what could Don Callis offer Jericho what he doesn't have? I mean, Jericho is. I'm doing it again. Jericho has done everything. All right, he doesn't need Don Callis. He doesn't need Konosuke. Sure, start a new. I personally feel like Jericho just needs to be by himself. I'm tired. Like ever since he's been in AEW, he's been in a group. He just in WWE, he was barely in groups. He was in tag teams, loads of tag teams, but not groups. Like, just take a break, focus on yourself, and figure out what you're doing, what's going on with Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara, maybe. Somehow maybe bring them together. I don't know. But yeah, this whole thing was dragged. I agree. The way it should. I was surprised they opened up Dynamite, and it just felt too soap opera-ish. It was a bit. Yeah. I just didn't like it. So that's why I kind of want this to be done and dusted. And this has gone way longer than it should have. But yeah, I also agree that that it's probably going to decline. Maybe this could be a way to do a face turn. He's probably going to get beat down by Takeshita and whoever else is in this is Konosuke right now, isn't it?
Yeah, just them.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe that's where you somehow introduce Will Ospreay to actually beat. So it's gonna be Jericho against Ospreay at All In.
Oh, okay. I'd be okay with that.
I don't want to see that match, but if you want to get Ospreay to do that, then yeah, because I don't think they're going to do Omega and Ospreay. That's a New Japan storyline, so they're going to save that for New Japan, probably at Wrestle Kingdom. But yeah, do Ospreay and Jericho. See if Ospreay can pull out a great match out of Jericho and then do it from there. But yeah, that's my take on it.
Oh, okay. I'd be down for that. I absolutely would. But actually, Chaos, you've changed my prediction. After what you said, I actually think that Don Callis is going to give him that offer tonight, and like you said, he's going to turn it down, and they're going to take him out. And then perhaps Sammy Guevara and a few others try and help Jericho or something like that, or backstage go and see him and says, no, you guys were right. You guys need to go alone. I'm doing this alone now too. Perhaps this is, he's not joining another group. Maybe you are bang on right there. You've sold me on that. But what about you, Clark? How are you feeling heading into this one?
I think they make this a parody of the LeBron James decision.
All night.
First,
just him sitting at the table.
And I think we have Callis bring in United Empire as the other members of this new faction. like Chaos mentioned on the Osprey thing. I think that's an
Oh.
outstanding idea as his sales pitch to Jericho. And Jericho's LeBron in this situation. People remember from the decision, LeBron was between staying home in Cleveland, aka the inner circle, or going to Chicago to play with Derrick Rose, New York, the Knicks, to make the most money in endorsements, or Miami to play with his friends. I think Jericho's decision is just like LeBron's. He's going to take his talents back,
Go to South Beach.
not home, not South Beach, to the inner circle. I think the inner circle reforms tonight. We see Inner Circle United Empire as a rivalry, maybe without Proud and Powerful, unfortunately. But I think the Jericho Appreciation Society is done, and a new version of the Inner Circle, the way LeBron had Dwayne Wade already in Miami, ready to go, and then he brought Chris Bosh with him. Maybe there's an ace in the hole up Jericho's sleeve at some point here for the new Inner Circle. If it's Proud and Powerful, I would be, blown away. I'm not sure that that's the case. But that's my call tonight. Is it has a lot of parallels with the LeBron James decision. Hopefully filmed similarly. That'd be hysterical, right? He makes us wait on his decision, makes us think maybe he's staying home with the JAS, or maybe he's going to New York or Chicago with the Callis family, and then he goes and plays with his friends, the Inner Circle, and takes his talents back to the Inner Circle. I think that's the route you go. And it would be also just classic Jericho to be clever like that and use such an iconic interview ESPN segment as kind of the basis for tonight. I would love to see that.
No, that's a great shout. I mean, it's all, to be honest, not something I know awfully a lot about, obviously, as the Brit here, but I would not hate it. I really wouldn't. I mean, obviously, it would need some explaining for me to get it or whatever. But a reformed Inner Circle, I 100% wouldn't mind. Chaos, how would you feel about that? A reformed Inner Circle?
Yeah, I'm down with that idea as well. It's gonna be very interesting if they somehow got the full circle back. With including Proud and Powerful. Kick out Jake Hager. We could do without him. But yeah,
Daniel Garcia is what, in my mind, I would have as the Hager.
Yeah.
In the current group, because I think Hager's kind of done with wrestling. I think Hager's going to. So you have Garcia still stick with, and he's the Hager of the group now, essentially.
100%. Yeah, be the actual wrestler, or with a little sprinkle of the sports entertainment and stuff.
Do you think Jake's trying to focus on MMA full time? Also, just like that's personal opinion. I think that's kind of a scoop.
I mean, 2.0. I mean, I'd feel bad for them.
I do too.
They would. That they would. I mean, they're the one tag team where I really.
But then again, there's now a lot of momentum with the Magic Meat. So
Magic Mike. Daddy Magic. Daddy Magic.
So
I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I mean, who knows? Maybe Clark should just go and go buy them a McMuffin again in the airport. Maybe that'll. Maybe I was going to say this last week. How about Chris Jericho just buys them all McMuffins, and that'll solve the issue based on Clark.
We're good.
Bring them all out for coffee. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it's all good at that point.
Coffee. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Oh, that absolutely would be. I mean, overall, from an in-ring standpoint, this is the weak card, isn't it, guys? On Dynamite tonight, this is one of the weaker ones lately. But storyline-wise, there's a few things going. They obviously need to build all in. It's the biggest wrestling event maybe ever, if based on paid attendance, almost is there. Would not surprise me if it got there. So yeah, I understand why they're just going for maybe a week of just trying to advance storylines, but they need to make this good. They really do. We don't want to see another 2-star episode, 2-point-something star episode of AEW Dynamite this week. And they would have bounced back. A lot of people are saying a lot of stuff on social media. They want to bounce back tonight. They want to have a great show. I really hope they do. There's a few things I'm really looking forward to in this. And let's hope the Texas Chainsaw Massacre match, well, I mean, let's just hope it's good. But who knows? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're on Twitch, please give us a follow. It means the world to us. If you're on YouTube, a like and subscribe. If you're audio only on Spotify, a cheeky 5 stars would mean the world and of course on Twitter, a retweet. We will be back tomorrow with a slightly later start time of 11 p.m. UK, which is 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific. They're going to be talking AEW Dynamite and, of course, Throwback Thursday. I'm now off for a couple of days, guys, but I will be back on Sunday to talk AEW Collision with everybody. Thank you so much, Chaos and Clark, for joining me here today. And we will see you guys very shortly. Enjoy AEW Dynamite.
My sweat